Hey, what's going on, guys? Today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at iOS 16.4. So there's a whole lot of new features in this update. Pretty big release here. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So iOS 16.4 was released along with a whole bunch of other Apple software updates just yesterday. So we'll be getting to all those eventually here in the video. Well, let's go ahead and start off here with the size of this update. So on my iPhone 13 Pro, this update came in at 1.64 gigabytes. So pretty good size update. Now, Apple didn't actually list all of the things that were addressed and changed in their release notes here for the public. So there are a lot of things we're going to be showing you here that are not listed here. So first thing we'll talk about here is there are 21 new emojis. So there are over 21 new emojis here. You can kind of see some of them here, different objects, different people, but there are a lot of them here that you can see scrolling through. So different gestures and all that good stuff. So it's always nice to see some emojis get added in here for you to use. Next thing here has to do with voice isolation. Now, voice isolation is a feature that's been around here for quite some time, but now you have the ability to use it on phone calls. So if I was in a phone call and I were to pull down on Control Center, I would see my microphone options appear in this area, and that is where you can tap on that now and you're able to adjust to voice isolation. So basically, if you're on a phone call and you're in a noisy environment, your phone will be able to kind of get rid of all that excess background noise and have the person on the other end of the phone call be able to hear you better. So it's very nice that that feature is now available. Another option here that we now have to do with your phone, of course, is 5G standalone. So I'm here on AT&T, and as you can see, it says your current SIM does not support 5G standalone. I believe the only carrier that supports this right now is T-Mobile, or that's at least what people have been saying they've seen it with, is T-Mobile. But if you go into cellular, and then you go into cellular data, and then voice and data, and this is where you can turn that on and off if you are able to use it. Now, I don't use Apple Music, but there are a lot of new Apple Music kind of design changes. So there's different things to do with albums and all that kind of stuff. But again, I don't use Apple Music. I use Spotify, so I can't really show you all those different changes. But it's just kind of some visual updates and better menu flows and album stuff and all of that. You can change your language setting on your phone to something different. I believe Arabic has some new Siri voices, and there's another language that I can't really remember right now, but there are a couple of new Siri voices that you can now choose from depending on what language you are using. With focus statuses, you of course have the ability to use filters. So these filters are different things to where you can kind of only allow certain message conversations or Safari tab groups, etc. There's also system filters down here. So in my case, you can see we have the low power mode. But if you have an iPhone 14 Pro with the always on display, you'll now have the ability to have a filter for the always on display. So if you have a certain focus status where you want to use your always on display, and then you might have another one that you don't, you can now put a filter down there and toggle that on and off. Of course, we have the ability to add in websites here to our home screen, so you can basically turn a website bookmark into an application that you can then tap on and quickly access a website. And that's been around for quite some time, but now we have the ability here to have notifications be supported on your home screen. So you know how you go to some websites and they ask if you would like to allow notifications? Well, if you add that app to your home screen, you will get notifications in Notification Center for that website now. So that is pretty cool. So you can have that going on now. We head over to our widgets page and we scroll down. We now see that we have a new order tracking widget. So with the new update, of course, iOS 16, you can now track orders if you purchase them with Apple Pay. So you now have a widget that you can add to your home screen or your widgets pane that allow you to see that. So that is pretty nice. Also here in the Wallet app, there's a new option here to sort transactions. So you can see that you can sort by all, payments, disputed transactions, refunds and adjustments, and purchases. If we go into our settings and our wallet and Apple Pay settings, there's also an option that allows you to automatically use a compatible card with Apple Pay if you're on a website in Safari. So if you are able to check out with Apple Pay, it'll automatically pick the compatible card to use during your checkout process. And the last thing to do with Apple Pay and Apple Wallet is Discover cards now have virtual card numbers. So this is an update with Discover. So if you use a Discover card in your Apple Wallet app, you'll have a little message pop up that'll let you know that you now have a virtual card number associated with that card. There are some new accessibility options to talk about here. So the first one here has to do with dim lights. So if we go to our accessibility settings and we go under motion, we can see we now have the option to dim flashing lights. So video content that depicts repeated flashing or strobing lights will automatically be dimmed. So you can turn that on now here in accessibility. Also, if you use VoiceOver, which is in accessibility as well, it now has support for Weather app and the Maps app. So that is pretty nice. Since we're still in settings here, we go over to General and we go to the About. You can see that right there in the middle there's a new coverage section. And if you go into that coverage section, you'll then see all of your devices and whether or not they have AppleCare or warranty coverage on them. And you can easily manage this here in the settings pane now. So you can see I got my phone, my watch, and my AirPods Pro. And if I were to tap on those, you can then see a bunch of different things here, how to get coverage, Apple Support app, and all that good stuff. So you can now manage all that stuff here in the About section of your Settings app. If you're in your Photos app and you scroll down to where the Utilities section is, you may have a little thing here that says duplicates. I don't have any duplicated photos, so I don't have any of those, but you would have that section there. But now with duplicates, it's also going to work across shared photo albums. So usually this was just on the photos that you had stored on your phone, but if you're using an iCloud photo album or sharing it with somebody else and there are duplicates in there, they will now also show up in your duplicated album. If we head into the Home app, you can see that we now have a home upgrade available, which basically allows you to upgrade to the latest architecture here with the Matter and everything coming in. Tap on Learn More and it says complete the steps to upgrade your home and take advantage of the improved reliability of your home. So you can go ahead and go through that process and you can update all of your devices that need to be updated. So that is pretty simple to use now. If you use AirPods, you'll now notice that your personalized spatial audio can be found under the sounds and haptics. So you can go in there and you can personalize that to create your own. So that's now available in there for your AirPods. In the Watch app, if you go to the colored faces, you will now be able to see the new spring colors. Unfortunately, you have to update to the latest version of watchOS, which is 9.4. So I have not done that yet, so I don't have the colors, but I believe there's 3 new colors for spring 2023 to match the new watch bands that were just announced. So you'll find those new spring colors once you update both your phone and watchOS. If you use the Shortcuts app, there are now 12 new shortcut options that you can use to create your own automations. So that is pretty cool. You can also now change the icon of those different shortcut options as well. In the Podcast app, there is now channels. So you'll be able to see that. I have no idea where my app is. So you can see we have channels in the library, improved up next, and new Apple CarPlay updates. So you'll be able to kind of see more recommendations basically in your library if, of course, you actually listen to podcasts, which I don't. Another thing that's been updated here in the Books app is actually you can now add in the page animation. So if you remember when Books was first introduced and you were to turn a page, you could like kind of be peeling the page back and actually see the animation. Well, they took that away here in this. Now, I don't have any books that I can actually show that to you, I don't think. So that's kind of unfortunate. But you can now enable that option if you would like. And then if you use the Apple Tips app, you'll have user guides now. So you'll have a user guide for your different devices. You can find that in the Tips app. Now, as far as iPadOS 16.4 goes, it has all the same features as iOS does, but you now have pencil, hover, tilt support. So if you have a compatible Apple Pencil and an iPad where you can take your pencil and kind of hover it over the display and see the little line form, well, now if you tilt your pencil like this, you'll be able to see the line tilt as well. Let's talk about some of the bug fixes here. There was only 3 of them that were actually listed in the release notes. So the first one has to do with the ask to buy request from children to their parents. So if you manage your child's device, sometimes there was an issue where an ask to buy request may fail when it appears on the parent's device. So that should be resolved now. Next thing here has to do with the Home app. So in the Home app, there was a problem where Matter-compatible thermostats could become unresponsive when paired to an Apple Home. So that should be good to go. And then the last thing, of course, is again, Apple is still optimizing crash detection on iPhone 14 and 14 Pro devices. There's still a lot of false alarms that have been occurring with that, so hopefully they'll get that all sorted out. And the final thing we can talk about, of course, is security-related updates. So if we head over to Apple's support page for security, we can see the different things that were released yesterday. There was actually quite a few of them here. Ventura 13.3, Monterey, Big Sur, tvOS, watchOS, iOS 15 update, Safari, and even a Studio Display firmware update. But if you tap on one of these, you'll be able to see everything that was addressed. And guys, this is like probably the most security things I've seen in a long time for an update. I mean, there's just a ton of security related fixes here. Pretty remarkable, pretty shocking to see all this. But as usual, I guess it's good that they fix them. It's just crazy that there's this many issues available, right? But basically what you can do here is read these different ones. You can see what part of the operating system was being affected, and then who found it, how it was resolved, and all that good stuff. So for example, Sandbox here, that's a pretty big one. The Sandbox where apps or websites are contained into their sandbox. So if you were to do something sketchy in an app or on Safari, it wouldn't be able to spread throughout your phone. So that is pretty serious. But anyways, it tells you what devices it's available for, what was happening. So this is an app may be able to bypass privacy preferences. And then it tells you what was done to address it. So a logic issue was addressed to improve validation. And then it gives credit to the organization or research firm or individual that found the problem. So that is the security updates. And guys, that is everything here new in iOS 16.4. Quite the large update this time around. A lot of security issues addressed. Be sure to stay tuned on the channel. We will be doing other videos here on watchOS and macOS and possibly some other updates here very, very soon. So be sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any new videos. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching the channel and supporting me, and I will catch you all in the next video.